All right, guys, let's get into this story. This is a really crazy story, and I can't even believe the outcome. Whew. All right, good morning, you guys. What would a Monday morning be without a shit ton of technical difficulties and my patience being this big? If you're new here, my name is Ariel. I love true crime and I like to cover cases that interest me. But if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments and I will be more than willing to look into any cases that you guys want me to cover. But today, we're going to look into the Tiffanie Lucas case. Tiffanie Lucas was a 32-year-old woman in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. She shot and killed her two sons, 6-year-old Maurice Baker Jr. and 9-year-old Jayden Howard. And here is a picture of those sweet boys. Lucas was arrested in November 2023 and charged with their murders. A neighbor found the boys shot inside Lucas's home. Also, we're going to go over that body cam footage and a few other things. Her trial was to set for this month, but she pled guilty, I believe it was last month, and she was sentenced to 2 life terms, and that was a grueling sentencing when it came to just the family and everything else, and she still didn't seem all there. So I wanted to start with just like an overall kind of like little summary like I like to do. Then we're going to move into some other things. I want to go over like the first time the police talked to her, her pleading guilty, and then some of her sentencing. And then there are some clips of her like at Waffle House. She did apparently have issues with drugs. And I mean, I'm assuming that she's been sober in jail this whole time, but I don't know. She still has that insanely like smug like look on her face that she did when she was arrested. So I don't know. I truly don't know. I'm just here to share these stories. I will always share my opinion, and your opinion is always welcomed. Okay? Don't ever feel like you don't need to share your opinion because it doesn't align with mine. I want you to share your opinion. All right? So let me turn off all 800 of my mics.
Yeah, good evening to you, Vicki. Good evening to you, Rick. Those siblings, just 6 and 9 years old, despite the efforts of first responders, died here while in surgery. Now, I got to tell you, this is a crime, an arrest that has shocked the small community of Shepherdsville. Not long after the crime tape went up in this quiet Shepherdsville subdivision, the talk began, and eventually the awful rumors proved true. According to police, Tiffanie Lucas shot her 2 young children inside their Bentwood Drive home Wednesday morning.
It's sad. I mean, what's this world coming to? For a mother to shoot her 2 children like that.
WLKY News Chopper was there as the siblings were rushed to Norton Children's in downtown Louisville, 30 minutes away. That's where the kids, ages 6 and 9 years old, died in surgery.
I'm a mom of 2, and it's hard.
We're told a neighbor found the siblings shot around 11 Wednesday morning after noticing something wasn't quite right at the house.
One of our neighbors came home and entered the house and found that the 2 kids had been shot.
According to court records, the children were found shot in a bedroom with the gun still on the bed. And while police won't discuss motive, neighbors can't imagine a reason for the tragedy that unfolded just a few doors down.
It's devastating. I mean, as a mother, I can't imagine that, thinking that that's the only way
And back here live tonight, Tiffanie Lucas was taken into custody pretty much immediately, Rick, Vicky, at the scene. But it wasn't until just before 4 o'clock this afternoon that she was booked into the Bullitt County Jail. She remains there tonight, again, charged with 2 counts of murder for those children, just 6 and 9 years old. Reporting downtown tonight, I'm Lauren Adams, WLK.
All right, now we're going to get into her, the body cam of when she was arrested. Prior to her being on the ground, she walked up to her neighbor's door, and it's on their Ring camera, and I think it is, if I'm thinking of the right case. And she just lays down on the ground, and I think that she tells him that, like, her kids are dead or something, and then obviously he calls the cops, and then that takes us to here. So there's just like a little bit of context.
Tiffany? Mm-hmm. All right, Tiffany, I'm going to change these handcuffs out, okay? And then I'm going to roll you over and I'm going to sit you up, all right? Have you taken anything? Have you been drinking? Then why can't you stand up?
I don't feel like it.
You just don't feel like it, huh?
I said I don't feel right.
Don't feel right? Okay.
I felt back and I was trying to play the video games and I wasn't like focusing how I was supposed to, you know, and they get that video game and the YouTube and the kids, it just messes their minds up to where people can manipulate their parents or do whatever they want. And I feel like someone put something upon my house or me or something.
All right, so when I first heard this, immediately I thought, okay, well, and I mean, this could be true, but I think they said that like her toxicology report, that she had like nothing in her system. I feel like that's what her defense attorney said at closing or at sentencing. It's giving meth head, haven't slept in probably a week, is psychotic, having hallucinations, paranoid, etc. That's my personal thought. A lot of the things that she says is extremely outlandish, and maybe that mixed with some mental. I mean, the thing is, rugs. I'm going to say rugs. You guys know what I mean. Rugs make mental issues worse. I'm no doctor, but I have mental issues and I've had my fair share of many things in this world. And yeah, they can amplify those mental conditions extremely. And that's just my own personal opinion because I've gone through it myself. I never did meth or nothing like that. I don't want anybody to freaking watch this video and think that I smoked meth. Or anything of that sort. I'm just letting you know there's a certain prescription that is prescribed to people with ADHD, and if it is taken on excess, then it can cause the same kind of issues. That's what I'm going to say.
Y'all having a good time? What?
Oh, look at those little baby angels. They are what's trending in true crime. Their mother faced a judge just days after she was accused of fatally shooting her 2 boys to death. 32-year-old Tiffanie Lucas is her name. That's her right there. Look at her. Charged with 2 counts of murder, appeared in a Kentucky courtroom Tuesday. She's accused of murdering her 6- and 9-year-old sons, those beautiful boys. Police say she shot them both in the head. How disgusting is that? Those 2 boys were found by a neighbor. They were covered in blood in the home that they shared with their mother, the person who was supposed to be protecting them. Those little slain siblings were rushed to a nearby children's hospital and sadly did not survive their injuries. And Lucas's Facebook page portrays her as a loving mother who just coordinated Star Wars-themed Halloween costumes for her and her boys. Look at this. There's a picture of them recently. As more details are coming out of her past, we're learning about a drug possession conviction. And our question this morning, how did she have custody of these kids? Let's bring in our guest now. I have with me in the studio law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter, standing by remotely criminal defense and civil rights attorney Kesia Early, and the state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, Dave Ehrenberg. Good morning to you all. I'm so happy to have you with us here on the show to discuss this very important and heartbreaking case. Sonny, I'd like to begin with you. Your thoughts on how in the world she had custody of those boys when we understand she had quite a checkered past.
Thank you for having me, Julie. I believe that there was absolutely a breakdown in our system when you think about Child Protective Services and law enforcement and the investigative process and what happened in this particular case that allowed her to have any physical custody and not just potentially supervised visitation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just so hard to think about. And then you see the picture of them on Halloween and they look happy together and you think, how in the world can this happen? Kesia Early, let me go to you next, please. Your take on this.
Good morning, Julie. This is absolutely heartbreaking. As a mother of four, every time I hear about a parent killing their children, I could just never imagine how do they reach that point. And even looking at her social media, you would think that this was a happy life, they enjoyed time, but there was a message on one of her social media where she depicted that she didn't have help from the father of her children. There could be depression, signs of abuse, whatever the case may be. This is a hard and sad story for the children, but also for the family members, because there was a clip that the family said she had options. If she was really depressed, she could have reached out, and there was also an eviction notice left on the kitchen table, so it could be a host of issues why she chose to take this route.
Mm-hmm. Right, Kesia. Dave Ehrenberg, last but certainly not least, your take on this case, please.
Yeah, Julie, this is so tragic. It's hard, though, to know at this point what the relationship there was on the other side with the father's family. There was a press conference afterwards with relatives of the father who were lashing out, saying, this is no accident. I mean, the excuse she made that it was an accidental death. You don't shoot a baby, a child, twice in the head and call it an accident, and then the other one gets shot too. So she lies. She obviously has drug addictions. As far as why she had custody, we just don't know what it was like on the other side, on the father's side, if he gave up custody or if there were issues over there. So at this point, it's probably premature. Although, look, it's not going to be the first time in a state that Child Protective Services screw up. It seems to be way too common in this age of budget cuts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Dave, appreciate it so much. Very well said. You know, we know there were some new details we learned in that Tuesday preliminary hearing for Tiffanie Lucas. Detective Richard Beal was the only witness of the day, and he testified about what Lucas told police after the shootings. Take a look.
I asked Miss Lucas if she meant to hurt her children. She indicated that it was an accident. Quote, it was an accident, end quote. She also made some comments such as, quote, I'm in such a bad spot, end quote. Quote, I'm so stupid, end quote. End quote, I would never do anything like this unless someone manipulated me, end quote.
Tragic details in such a tragic case. And the question we're asking this morning, do these crimes warrant the death penalty? We know that capital punishment is legal in the state of Kentucky, but won't apply if a person is deemed to be mentally ill by the court. Based on all the allegations we're hearing, should Tiffanie Lucas face the death penalty if she is convicted of these crimes? I want to turn back to my guests now and get their thoughts. Sonny Slaughter, let me go to you, please.
Emotionally, I want to say yes. But as a law enforcement expert, I need to keep the audience informed that facts and evidence matter, including a mental health evaluation and all of the circumstantial and confirmed evidence around this case. So we should not, we might have our opinions, but we need to be careful how we think about this particular case until we have all of the evidence available to us.
Right. I really like what you're saying here. We do need more facts. I wish we had more facts. And depending on which way this goes factually, whether there is zero evidence of mental illness that may warrant the death penalty versus if there is a whole different story. Casey or Early, back to you on this one. Your thoughts on whether or not prosecutors may make the decision to seek it. How do you see the case playing out, please?
Well, I believe that those initial incriminating statements may be used as aggravating factors because initially it doesn't appear to be a mistake, as my colleague stated. She was better off not saying anything. That way the defense can properly prepare a better defense theory in this case. So that may go against her as an aggravating factor, but of course it could be mitigating factors. Yes, she had a history of drug abuse, but she didn't really have a significant violent criminal history, and she was the primary caretaker of the boys and then had a long span of no criminal history. So she may have substantial mitigating factors that can outweigh any aggravating factors for the death penalty.
I love you bringing this up, Casey. You're right. It is a balancing test, most certainly. Dave Ehrenberg, to you next, please. You certainly know what a weighty decision it is for a state attorney's office any time to make that decision. Talk to us about some of the things that the office is going to go through in the coming weeks to gather that information in order to make the proper call.
We look at the aggravators versus the mitigators. And as Casey said, it doesn't look like she has an extensive criminal record. Plus, if there's mental health issues, if there are drug addiction issues, it's less likely they'll be able to get the death penalty. It doesn't mean they won't seek it. I mean, this is a horrific case about two especially vulnerable individuals who were murdered. And so as such, it's going to be on the table. But in the end, we should be frank, it's very difficult to get the death penalty on a woman who kills her kids. It's very unlikely. Jurors do not like to impose a death penalty on women. It's just a reality of the criminal justice system.
Shepherdsville neighborhood stunned, now looking for the answers to an unthinkable crime. Police say two young boys were killed by their own mother. Tiffanie Lucas was arraigned in court this morning, charged with 2 counts of murder, and she will be staying behind bars on $2 million bond. Our Connor Steffen and photojournalist Eddie Hill take us to Bullitt County.
Just past the Jefferson-Bullitt County line.
You don't expect this, no matter where you live.
A community is grappling with the tough loss of 2 young lives. From neighbors who knew them,
just put yourself in these people's place and think, well, it can happen to anyone. And
to officers who tried to rescue them.
I'll give you the cliche answer first. It's part of the job, but it's the part that you dread. The part that you hope that you go your entire career and never see.
Officers arrived at this home on Bentwood Drive around 11 Wednesday morning, where they rushed 2 young boys just 6 and 9 years old to the hospital.
They were alive and remained so until they got to the hospital.
Police believe this woman, 32-year-old Tiffanie Lucas, shot and killed her 2 sons. She's charged with 2 counts of murder. At this time, the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office is not sharing any information on the moments leading up to the shooting or what Lucas's motive may have been. Right now, she remains in custody at the Bullitt County Detention Center.
Whether you think it's mental illness, just pure evil, combination of both, pick your poison. None of it's good. The result is horrific.
It's hard to underscore the deeply somber feeling right now in this area. Neighbors tell us it was just yesterday that they saw the boys playing out front in a yard.
Been living here since 2004.
For this longtime neighbor who asked we don't show his face or share his name. How do you think the neighborhood's reacting? Have you talked with neighbors about this?
I talked to a couple of neighbors, and they're kind of upset that they find 2 little boys got shot. That's kind of upsetting. Nobody back here wanted to hear about kids getting shot. Nobody wants to hear people getting shot at all.
It was shocking, actually. Nobody ever thinks it's going to happen in your neighborhood.
As a Bentwood Drive house stands empty tonight.
Just love your family and hope nothing like this ever happens to anyone else.
Those mourning the loss are looking past the act of what happened.
Those kids went to schools. Those kids had friends. Those kids had families.
And keeping close to their hearts, the 2. All right, so in the midst of watching those videos, I had seen in the corner that those photos came from her Facebook. So I thought we could also go through her Facebook together. Profile picture. She's a beautiful woman.
She doesn't look like like the typical, this is the one that they had. You can tell she's very much into herself. Okay, so she reshared this that says, sorry, but a baby daddy can be bitter too. Not helping financially because you and the mom aren't on good terms, not helping physically or helping with pickup from practices in daycare, not wanting to create a set schedule for your kids, constantly trying to make things harder for the mom, halfway doing stuff, picking and choosing, etc. All that is bitter, but y'all ain't ready for that conversation yet. 100. This is crazy.
Boys! Peanut! What?
That's wild. Oh my god. How the fuck? How the fuck do you do that, bro? It makes no sense. So 32 years old. So she's 33 now. That is fucking, oh my god, I cannot. So I think okay, so she was, I don't remember hearing about that, but she definitely loves herself, which we all should love ourselves to a healthy extent. This is what I was questioning. Check my story out, tons for sale and free. Thanks. First come, first go. I don't understand. She's selling booty pads? What is she selling? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, hell no. Always serving class with my fine SSA, capital A. Those little boys, I just cannot. Okay, what is she saying in this?
Tomboy day.
Tomboy day.
Tomboy
So when that day was she like, murder day? Like, what the fuck?
Okay, they got the chopsticks. Okay. Okay. Oh.
I don't
Okay,
remember what she did for a living. I don't remember what she did for a living, but they were always doing stuff, going out, and this looks like this is at a yeah. I'm like, that's a hospital's couch. Somebody had a baby. Don't know. 4th of July. She did a lot of stuff with her sons.
Okay. Would come visit me. I would always bring him here, and he loved it. So since I can't go all the way back up north, I'm releasing balloons for my dad. And I love him so much. And I hope you have the best spot. They didn't have Father's Day balloons, but
girl, that's gonna end up in the damn ocean.
You always make me smile.
The hell?
And
I don't think that's allowed anymore. My lifeline, my heartbeat, my everything, my kings. What's even crazier? It's not crazy, but my sister lives like 30 minutes from where this happened. And I'm always like, will you just drive by there and send me a picture? So maybe one day. Like, not like it would do anything. Sorry. Mother's Day last year. And she committed this crime. What day was this? November 2023, May of 2023. Let's see what her last post was. June, September, Halloween. Wonder what day she did that in November. Like, why I just don't get that. I will never understand unaliving children or your child. Like, do it to yourself. I'm not encouraging that, but just like, none of that makes sense to me. It will never make sense. This girl, yes, I've gained weight. No, I'm not pregnant. You're only showing your ass. Pregnant where? In your butt cheeks? Immaculate beauty at its finest with that $1 billion smile on your pretty face. I wonder if he's filling her commissary. And I wonder what prison she got transferred to. It's crazy. No wonder why everybody was like extremely shocked. Because we put what we want on social media. We put what we want to be perceived as on social media. That's the obvious. And then like, look what she did. So an outsider that doesn't know her is going to be looking at this stuff like, oh, wow, she seemed like, number one, she seemed like she had a good amount, like she had a great income. I don't know what she did. Number two, that she like did a lot with her kids. Number three, she clearly, really and truly loved herself to a almost slightly narcissistic point. But I know how it is when you like feel good about yourself. You look good. You want to take some pictures? Yeah. 6 of your butt. That's okay. In your 30s. Do you, I guess. Who's this? She's drinking. And those Those eyelashes. Did they borrow each other's eyelashes? Huh. Morton's Steakhouse. Girl. Oh my God. Did she do like OnlyFans or something? I think like maybe she did. Okay, Easter. She looks high in these. Okay, well maybe it was just her, just the picture. Apparently she had been 10 days off of, I think it was opioids. She started with painkillers after like a tooth procedure, got hooked, and then moved to fentanyl because it was cheaper and easier to get. And then I guess I don't know. This is what her attorney said when she was being sentenced. I think it was the sentencing. At some point I heard that. Okay, Valentine's Day date. Her kids are there. She takes her kids out. Wait a minute. January 31st, 2022. Why was her name Celine Tiffany Ann? January 31st, 2022. I take no offense to the people living different lives than me. I don't understand other lifestyles and don't expect anyone to understand mine. That is the only thing, though. Others feel so dignified on gossiping instead of tending to their own issues. Everyone's life has some type of conflict in it. So why pick at others? Why pick at others instead of focusing on fixing you? If it makes you feel better, stay entertained. Ooh. Drama, as my daughter likes to say. Sheesh, of course, shaking my head. Stay blessed. To continue. Ooh. Maybe she was the ones that had victim impact statement. She had a cat that passed away. Okay. Seems like she had some faith. Those little boys. My gosh. It's giving I'm messed up in drugs and going to do something crazy. This is her. Look at her bio. Jayden Peanuts World Forever. Those are her two sons' nicknames. Wild, guys. Wild. I could probably go through this for hours, but I don't have hours today because I have a shit ton of videos. I need to like batch film today so that throughout the holidays I have. What the heck? What is this? What are these? Man, I used to do my eyebrows like that too. And I wish somebody would have taken that Anastasia dip brow away from me. I'm going to batch film for you guys so that I have stuff all throughout the week and Christmas week because my sister flies in from Kentucky on Friday and y'all, I'm going to be busy. Okay. Be cooking, eating. Let me make sure I didn't have anything else I wanted to add to this. Her sentencing, I do want to add. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and then I'm going to go potty.
Everybody can make sure cell phones are turned off, please. All rise. Bullet Circuit Court's now in session. The Honorable Judge Rodney Burris presiding. Thank you. Please be seated.
2023 CR 404. The record will reflect the Commonwealth is represented by the Honorable Bailey Taylor. The defendant appears today. He's represented by the Honorable Richard Lonzak and the Honorable Jonathan Villavicencio. I got that right. Close enough. The matter is put before the court on the defendant's motion to review the status of her plea. Would the defense attorneys like to address the issue?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, Ms. Lucas is prepared to enter a change of plea. We would enter an open plea to both charges as alleged in the indictment. We have a motion and our guilty plea form prepared today, so we can go forward with that. And we would just note for the record that at this time there's no notice of aggravating circumstances filed in this case, which is a material condition of our interest in entering this plea.
All right. The defendant at this time is charged with 2 counts of murder, both being capital offenses. You've indicated it's her desire to enter an open plea. Is she intending to enter a plea of guilty to both of those charges?
Yes, sir.
And as an open plea, Mr. Taylor, I assume the Commonwealth is not making a recommendation then?
That is correct.
All right, I need counsel to approach the bench.
Tiffanie Lucas.
Right hand man. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Put your hand down. Would you gentlemen move that microphone right in front of her, ma'am? I think you're going to need to speak up just a little bit. Can I have your full name?
Tiffanie and Tiffanie Lucas.
Your
213 Bentwood Drive, Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Your date of birth?
10/2/91.
And may I have the last 4 digits of your social security number?
0811.
How much education do you have?
High school.
Then you can read and write?
Yes, sir.
Do you suffer now or have you ever suffered from any mental illness or defect which would affect your ability to think and reason?
No, sir.
At this time, are you ill or are you in any way impaired in your judgment?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of alcohol or any other type of drug?
No, sir.
Do you understand what's happening in court at this time?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, the indictment in this case charges in count 1 on or about the 8th day of November of 2023 in Bullitt County, Kentucky. The above-named defendant, Tiffanie Lucas, committed the offense of capital murder when she intentionally caused the death of J.H. by shooting him with a gun. Count 2 charges that on or about the 8th day of November of 2023 in Bullitt County, the above defendant, Tiffanie A. Lucas, committed the offense of capital murder when she intentionally caused the death of M.B. by shooting him with a gun. Now, ma'am, do you admit that you are the person named in that indictment?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the facts that you are charged with in that indictment?
Yes, sir.
Has your attorney explained to you the nature of the charges against you, their penalty, and any possible defense that you might have?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you have the following rights. You have a right to a trial by jury, where you will be represented by your attorney, and the Commonwealth will have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right not to testify against yourself or incriminate yourself in any way. You have a right to confront and cross-examine any witness which the Commonwealth would produce to testify against you. You also have a right to appeal to a higher court any conviction which you might receive at the jury trial in this court. Now, do you understand that you have those rights, but you do give them up when you enter a guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Have you discussed your guilty plea with
I'm
your
actually
attorney?
surprised she did
Have you
not
had all the time that you need to
pull
call
the
private with
insanity
your attorney?
Yes,
card.
Is there anything that
Out of
you've
all
asked your
cases, I'm
attorneys
surprised
to
she
do in your
didn't.
defense that they have failed to do?
No, sir.
Are you satisfied with their services?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I've been presented here with a written motion to enter a guilty plea. Did you read this motion?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And is it your wish at this time to enter a guilty plea which follows the recommendation that is contained in the written offer?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, would you approach the bench? Ms. Lucas, you have read this document, and You have initialed the paragraphs that do not apply to your case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it your wish at this time to enter a guilty plea then to the charges in this case without a recommendation from the Commonwealth?
Yes, sir.
You understand, ma'am, that on each count, the potential penalty is 20 to 50 years in prison or a life sentence, and that the counts could be concurrent, meaning at the same time, or they could be consecutive, meaning one right after the other.
Yes, sir.
And have you discussed all of the issues relating to probation, parole, and other matters in this guilty plea with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
And then it is your desire at this time to enter a plea of guilty to the 2 counts.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lucas, on count 1, do you admit and plead guilty to the offense of murder?
Yes, sir.
On count 2, do you admit and plead guilty to the offense of murder?
Yes, sir.
And you enter each of these pleas of your own free will because you are guilty and for no other reason?
Yes, sir.
Knowing that you have the rights I've described to you, do you still wish to give up those rights and enter this guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, you understand that by waiving your right to a jury trial, the court will be required to set your punishment within the limits allowed by law.
Yes, sir.
And is your request that this happen this way?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, I'm going to ask the defense attorney, do you acknowledge that you represent Ms. Lucas in this matter?
Yes, sir.
Do you acknowledge her identity?
I do.
And have you explained to her the nature of the charges against her, their penalties, and any possible defenses she might have?
We have.
Have you explained to her her constitutional rights?
We have.
In your opinion, does she understand those rights and the nature of these proceedings?
She does.
Is her plea of guilty consistent with your advice?
It is.
And in your opinion, having conferred with the defendant, it's her decision to enter a guilty plea made knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently?
Yes, sir.
The court will then make a finding the defendant's plea is made knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. Mr. Taylor, there is no recommendation from the Commonwealth at this time on a guilty plea. The Commonwealth will be allowed to ask for whatever you would like to ask for at the time of sentencing, as will the defense. I cannot imagine the sheer horror these children must have experienced seeing their mother with a gun. The sheer horror that second child had as he heard the discharge of that weapon for the first child. And maybe even both of them seeing their mother pull the trigger, taking their life. At this time, the court will state for the record, the court has considered the probation pre-sentence report, arguments of counsel, the contents of the file, and no sufficient reason having been shown why judgment not be pronounced and sentence imposed. In case number 23 CR 404, Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Tiffanie Lucas, as to count 1. The court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. On count 2, the court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. This time, the court will order that the Sheriff's Department deliver the defendant to the custody of the Corrections Cabinet for service of her sentence of imprisonment. That's all for today. Court will be adjourned.
So this last clip is something along the lines of her being a small business owner. So that obviously this was before the incident, and it's 1 minute and 3 seconds long. So I thought we'll just throw it in there. Why not? Let's go.
He was once a business owner whom we interviewed actually in 2016. She had just opened Ms. Tiff's one-stop shop convenience store on West Broadway. We spoke with her 7 years ago about the impact as a young entrepreneur after Walmart pulled its plan to open a store in that same area.
A lot of people don't make their way down here, but if there's a Walmart, you know, you come out of the woodworks for Walmart. So probably would have brought a lot of people to, you know, stop and check us out.
Business records show her store closed in 2017. A year later, we found she pleaded guilty to drug charges and was sentenced to 30 days in jail. There's no criminal record between 2018 and last week, when she was charged with killing her 2 young sons. Family members say they've cleaned out the Bullitt County home that she was renting. They say it was filthy with the utilities turned off and an eviction notice on the counter.
Hey guys, that is all I have for this video. I just wanted to end on this page so that we could see these two beautiful boys, and my condolences to the families that were affected in this matter. And I just have no words. I truly don't. If you like this kind of content and you liked this video, please like it. It helps me out a lot. Share, subscribe if you aren't. Get your friends to subscribe. I will be back probably today with more videos. So happy Monday. And it's almost Christmas, guys. All right, see you in the next one.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share with some friends.